Okay, so we're waiting for the participants to get inside of our room, and we shall start in 1 more minute. Just waiting for all the participants to join us. Very good. So I can see the participants getting inside of our room. We are just going to wait 1 more minute to be sure that all participants are inside of our room today. And we are going to start our webinar on the digital transformation assessment and the digital transformation initiative we want to develop all together with ENRICH members. And for all members who have already joined our meeting today, you can please feel free to get inside of the chat room and just say your name and where you come from, so that our speakers for today, our experts from the Fraunhofer IPK, can just get to know you. So please feel free to get inside of the chat room, putting your name and where you come from, your company, so that they got to know all of you. I see that Marcela Flores has already right in the chat room. Hola Marcela, hello Marcela. She's the Executive Director of the National Association of Research and Development of Innovative Company on Pay. Good to have you. Good morning to you too, Wagner Valenti, who is from the UNESP, the National State University of São Paulo. We have Adriana from Technopark, who is the Executive Director, who has already joined us and introduced herself in the chat room. Very nice. So I think that all of our participants are already online, so we shall get started so that we don't go after the time that we have scheduled for today. Bom dia, buenos dias, good morning or good afternoon if you are talking to us or listening to us from Europe. It is a great pleasure to have you again. Bom dia and good morning and good afternoon to all our members of ENRICH in Latin America and Caribbean. It is a pleasure to have you today in this new activity we are starting all together with you. As you know, this is an exclusive activity that we are performing only with the members of ENRICH in LAC, and it is part of the benefit of you being a member of ENRICH. And this is really a great initiative we are starting today, because we are bringing international experts from Fraunhofer IPK in Germany, which is without any doubt the biggest expert in digital transformation in Europe and in the world. All of you must know that the Industry 4.0 started in Germany, started in the region of Baden-Württemberg in Germany, where we have a lot of industrial companies. And we all know that the network of research of Fraunhofer has been one of the major actors in developing the overall Industry 4.0 initiative in Germany, in the world, and the overall digital transformation initiative. So we really are very glad, and we are very lucky actually to have wonderful experts from Fraunhofer IPK to join us today, that I would like to thank. So thank you so much, Felix, to be with us this morning. Thank you so much, Florian, also to joining us this afternoon. Actually, I'm saying morning, but it's morning in Brazil. And of course, we have Catherine, our project manager from ENRICH, who has joined us also this morning, this afternoon. Thank you so much, Catherine, for being with us. So on my side, I just wanted to say hello to everybody, to introduce very shortly the purpose of our meeting today. This is just a first meeting. We're going to have actually a timeline of activity together where we are going to provide information, insight, good practices for you, our members of ENRICH, to improve your digital transformation. I'm very glad to have you. And in order to start the activities today, I would like to give the virtual floor to Catherine so that she can introduce a little more of the activities we are going to perform today and in the next weeks. So please, Catherine, the floor is yours.
So thank you, Felipe. And yeah, I'm also very happy to be part of this webinar today. As Felipe already mentioned, my name is Catherine Singer, and I'm also working for Fraunhofer IPK, who is in charge, or who is the coordinator of the ENRICH in Latin America and Caribbean project. And today I have two of my colleagues, Felix Budde and Florian Kitschun, who will report you about the more technical part of this webinar today. And yes, Felix, could you, I would give you the word to maybe introduce yourself.
Thank you, Katrin. So my name is Felix Budde. I'm also a research associate here at Fraunhofer IPK in Berlin, Germany. And yeah, I'm too very happy to be part of this webinar, actually my first webinar. So I'm quite excited, and I yeah, hope we have a great webinar and discussion.
Thank you, Felix.
Yeah. Bon dia and hello, guys. Good morning. My name is Florian. I'm also a research associate at Fraunhofer IPK in the division Corporate Management. I'm working in the field now of strategic business development, benchmarking, and performance management. And this especially in projects within Europe and Brazil. One very important partner to name here is Sinai. My background is industrial engineering. I studied at Technical University in Berlin, and I'm really looking forward to a productive session today. Thank you.
Thank you. So on my side, I give you the floor so that we can get started with the introduction of our activities.
So yes, this webinar today is about the digital transformation assessment, and we would like to present you how you can assess the current state or the readiness of your of the digital transformation level of your company, and how you can assess it. The agenda for today, so I will briefly introduce you to the webinar, and also one more time about the new scope of our project and which priority areas we will have. And after that, Florian will present you the actual digital transformation assessment, what is in this assessment and how is the process. And Felix will present you the first interim global results in a brief summary. And after that, Felipe will moderate an open discussion session where you can ask us all your questions that you have related to the webinar. Yes, so as already mentioned, I will briefly give you an overview about our new objectives, since, as you know, our ENRICH in Brazil project has now, since the beginning of this year, the scope for the Latin American and Caribbean countries. And we have the project duration from beginning of this year for 3 years, which means until end of 2023. And our objectives are to facilitate European and Latin American and Caribbean partnerships in business, but also the entire innovation chain. And of course, our most important objective is to position ourselves in Europe and Latin America as one of the main and most reliable intermediaries and knowledge centers to have the collaboration between Europe and Latin America and related to innovation collaboration. Of course, our new project builds up on the very successful activities that we had already in our last project, the ENRICH in Brazil project. And in the future, it is our objective to become a financially sustainable ENRICH in Lux Center. This is the service portfolio that we will continue in this phase of the project with the focus to Latin America. So we are just developing our service portfolio because we're still a membership-driven organization, and it's our most important objective to provide our members a real strong service portfolio based on 4 pillars. The first pillar would be the knowledge sharing, where we want to provide you market studies, fact sheets, and sectorial information. For example, as you received an innovation ecosystem info sheet about Brazil, but also about Europe. Then we have the community building pillar, where we aim at providing soft landing hubs and a network of service providers, for example, for incubation services. And we have the training and capacity building pillar for business and research to market communities, where we will offer really high level executive trainings. For example, as you received from Felipe this week, the email regarding the foresight course training that we'll provide to you. And of course, the networking pillar, for example, again, with innovation challenges. Then we are established and growing our matchmaking platform to really meet the demands of our, of our members, to connect each other. And we also have outreach grants and innovation tours. Yes, and how do we want to fulfill this service portfolio? We will concentrate on basically 5 priority areas that we identified through a very intense desk research, which are currently the most relevant topics for Latin America and the Caribbean, but also from European perspective, to really foster the collaboration between these collaboration actors. So we have, first of all, the health topic, which is, of course, for the moment on a global scope, the major topic. Then we have digital transformation, where, as Felipe already said, Fraunhofer IPK is the coordinator, has a focus on, and which deals with our webinar today. And we have bioeconomy, renewable energy, and sustainable urbanization as really important priority areas for the future. And this especially in the Latin American countries. Yes, our members exclusive series is a forth-running series that we will provide you in the scope of this project. This is specialized just for our members and will deal with the priority topics that I just showed in the slide before. We had, for example, last week, probably you have seen it, a webinar regarding our matchmaking platform, how you can use it the best way to connect with innovation stakeholders. And today, the digital transformation webinar. And we will continue this series throughout the project. So, and before I will give the word to my colleague Florian, who will introduce you to the digital transformation assessment itself, I will briefly introduce the topic with a little overview about the different terms related to digital transformation. So we have, for example, or right at the beginning, the digitization, which is basically the conversion of analog data into a digital version. So from analog data just into the digital format. Then the digitalization, which goes a step beyond, and because it's a socio-technical phenomenon, and is to understand in a broader individual, organizational, and society context. The digital transformation, which is the topic today, goes even more beyond because it transforms business activities, processes, competencies, and business models. And Industry 4.0, which used this digital transformation in another context by networking of people, machine systems, and also partners and suppliers, where we have the focus on autonomous, spatially self-controlling, self-configuring production and resources, and which is also a focus here in Germany. So Florian, now I give the word to you to start with the digital transformation assessment part.
You have to, Florian, unmute yourself, please.
Okay, thank you. Now I hope you can hear me. Thank you very much, Katrin. So we will now have a look at the actual assessment tool here. So what is the digital transformation assessment actually about? It is an online self-assessment tool to determine the status quo of the companies on their specific path of digital transformation. And here the specialty of this assessment lies basically, first of all, on its broad availability on a global level, and that it is applicable to all kinds of value creating organizations, and not only those of the manufacturing sector. So until this day, there are lots of assessment models in the field of Industry 4.0, digitization, digital transformation, like lots of models. But here we set us apart because we conduct our analysis on a global level and not only for manufacturing companies. So the focus here lies, of course, on Europe and especially our partner countries, Brazil, China, and USA. And therewith, the questionnaire is also available in 5 languages here. So in English, in Chinese, in German, in Hungarian, and in Portuguese. And it was developed with friendly support here from the ENRICH network, which especially supported the translation. So the aim of the questionnaire is to analyze your digital maturity in the 7 dimensions that you can see here. So namely, first one, corporate strategy. So here, for example, we will have a look at if digitalization is an integral part of your corporate strategy, if you have defined roles and responsibilities for that subject, and if you have measurable goals and also monitor these goals. So this is just an example for a series of assessment items in this particular dimension, corporate strategy. And then we have also the 6 others here: leadership and corporate culture, organization and processes, employees and competencies, technology, where we will have a look at if you have the right investments in digital technologies, if you are actually updating your IT infrastructure, if you have rules and standards for IT security. Also just some examples. Then we have the products and services dimension and the supply chain and networks dimension. And these dimensions contain in total 33 items that you are asked to assess on a 5-point Likert scale. And this just takes about 15 minutes. And as a guidance, we have also best practice examples included there so that you know where you are actually standing at the moment and where do you assess yourself against. And after you did that, you will instantly receive the results for your company within an evaluation report that contains the results of each dimension and also initial recommendation. Moreover, you have the possibility, and this is now very interesting, to receive a free interim global results report showing the overall global results of all participants. This report is updated on a quarterly basis and sent to you upon request for free. And to receive this report, you just have to tick the box that you can see here on the left side, which will come up after your self-assessment. There will be a page showing this box. I would like to receive future evaluations and analysis. You just have to tick that, and then a field will be opened where you can insert your email address. And of course, the survey here complies with the current data protection regulations, so your data is therewith safe. And now, as an addition for the members just of the ENRICH network, we offer you an exclusive country report that covers the results of the digital readiness of Brazilian companies in an international comparison. So the Brazilian country results will be compared with the international, with the global results. So the significance, of course, of the Brazilian results highly depends also on your engagement here, which would be to fill out the questionnaire until end of May, until 31st of May, so that we have the chance to incorporate all the results coming from you, the ENRICH members. To put it in a nutshell, by filling out the questionnaire until end of May, you will receive, first of all, your initial company specific results right after you filled the questionnaire. And then you will receive a global results report when you insert your email address there. And thirdly, when you do it until the end of May, you will also receive a Brazilian country report in international comparison. And what we will show you now is an excerpt of the current interim global results. And if you do not have any questions at this stage, my colleague Felix will now give you a short summary of these results. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Florian. Let's have a look on the interim global results. So the digital transformation assessment was now open. The result was now open for a total period of 9 months, from June 2020 to April 2021. And now we will look firstly on the databases which we have here, and then afterwards we will look into the results in a brief overview on a global level. So in this time, from June 2020 to April 2021, we got valid answers from a total of 13 countries, from a total of 86 companies and 19 different industry sections. So right here we can see that we have a broad overview about over different parts of industry sections, just as Florian mentioned before. And if we look at the country data on the right side, we see that the most parts of the most companies come from Europe with 72%. The Americas, so North and South America, are participating with 20%, in Africa with 7%. And if we look at the next slide, we can see the distribution of the represented industry sections which participated in the digital transformation assessment. So overall, we can see that we have a great variety, a great diversification over different industry sections. So for example, education is present with 9% of the companies participated. Then we have a big part from information and communication industry with 22%. Then also some smaller chunks like financial and insurance activities, 5%. Manufacturing is actually with 1/3 the biggest part, but in comparison to the others, relatively big here with 33%. And then we have another sector like wholesale and retail trade, and a few different other sectors with 13%. The same goes for the size of participating companies. So when you look at the pie chart on the left side, we can see that a great variety of companies participated. So we have companies with a large size, and also companies like small and middle enterprises, which are covered in the results. When we look at the figure, we can see that companies with under 10 employees are participating with 22%, from 10 to 49 employees, 15%. The biggest part here is 28% for companies that are 50 to 250 people. And overall, we have small and middle enterprises for 65% here. Okay, and a few other bigger companies in the regions above that. Okay, let's dive into the results which we gathered till today. So what we are looking at here are the relevance assessments of the dimensions which Florian mentioned before. So we have the 7 dimensions on the y-axis, and we have the relevance today, to this day in the digital transformation on the x-axis. So if we look at the results, we see that especially corporate strategy, leadership and corporate culture, as well as organization processes and technology are seen as very important drivers for successful digital transformation. And when we take a look at the less important dimensions, we can see that products and services, as well as supply chains and networks, are not that relevant. But when you look at the margin between which we are comparing the dimensions, we see that from 6.31 to 7.58, we all have very relevant dimensions here. Okay. When we look at the next slide, we see the average results on a global level for all dimensions. So we have on the in the red part the assessments that state that the dimension is assessed more as weak. Then we have a orange part or yellow part with a moderate assessment, and a strong assessment in green. What shows here is that leadership and corporate culture, as well as technology, are the most highly developed dimensions here. So leadership and corporate culture with 49%, so nearly 50%, assessed as very strongly developed, and also technology with just 50%. Very highly developed. So, and if you also look at the moderate assessment, we can see that we have with 27 and 25% very highly developed dimensions here. And now we can take a closer look into these 2 dimensions. So leadership and corporate culture. The details which will be asked in the digital transformation assessment show that 2/3 of the companies surveyed report that their top management is actually actively driving the digital transformation forward. And on the other side, more than 50% of companies state that their operational employees have a positive attitude towards the digital transformation. So both top management as well as operational employees are positively looking into the future of the digital transformation here. A weak point which we found was that in the way the activities for the digital transformation are communicated with the employees. So nearly 40% wish for a more target-oriented manner in the communication. When we look at the technology dimension, we can also see in the details there that nearly 60% have defined and implemented necessary standards and regulations for IT security. So on the technology part, there's great confidence in the systems applied and systems and standards implemented there. Nearly 2 out of 3 companies make extensive use of digital technologies in order to improve cross-functional cooperation and knowledge transfer within the company. And on the other side, high uncertainty, so a great split between assessment as weak and assessment as strong was reported regarding the maturity of the systems to collect, consolidate, aggregate, and evaluate data in real time, with only 34% of the companies surveyed being confident in the maturity of the IT and data architecture. So that concludes the more highly developed dimensions, and now we can take a look into the dimensions that maybe need a little bit more work, that have high potential for improvement, like it's shown in the results. So if we look here, we have the dimensions employees and competencies, with a third distribution for weak, moderate, and strong. When we look at the supply chain and networks, we can see that the weak assessment is a bit larger here, and corporate strategy also has a larger weak assessment there. So let's dive into the details in these dimensions. With employees and competencies, most organizations state that the digital solutions are used inadequately and not systematically for HR management tasks. So HR is underrepresented here. More than half of the companies do not regularly evaluate their employees' digital competencies. So there's a need for maybe doing a more regular evaluation and a review of the digital competencies of the employees. 75% of the companies surveyed state that the personal skills of their employees are sufficiently developed to successfully master the challenges of digitalization. So we see, whereas most of the companies, like 75%, say that their employees' personal skills are greatly developed, only just more than half do not regularly evaluate their employees' competencies. So maybe there's a gap between these two parts. And only 32 assess the social communicative skills of the employees in the digital work environment as adequate to master the challenges of digitalization. So personal skills are way better developed on a global level than the social communicative skills for the digital transformation. In the next dimension, supply chain and network, we have a great division between software solutions for customer management and supplier management. So customer management, a share of 47 companies, so nearly half of the companies, state that they make extensive use of digital software solution and digital channels, as well as interfaces for customer management. So customer management is, we would say, greatly developed there. The same statement is there not true for the use and optimization of the digital solutions for supplier management. So customer management is greatly developed, supplier management not, with only 33% use and 26% which optimize their digital supplier interfaces comprehensively. 1/3 of the companies practice regular exchanges with external experts and partners to gain knowledge on digitalization trends. So 1/3 we see that maybe there could also be a great potential for further practicing exchange, for building up networks to gain knowledge to forward the digital transformation in these companies. Okay, when we look in the last dimension, corporate strategy, one slide before.
Sorry.
Thank you. We can see that at nearly half of the companies, digitalization is a central component of their corporate strategy. So a great part says that their corporate strategy already incorporates digital transformation. But in contrast, over 40% of the companies have neither defined sufficient measurable goals or review their actions regarding the, the digital transformation regularly. So as good as it is, we have a high part that says digital transformation is a central component, but the the measuring and the reviewing is maybe not done in the same manner. Okay, then let's have a last look on the relevance of the dimensions which we have seen before for the present, now into the future. So we asked in our assessment, how will the relevance of the dimensions change in the next 5 years against the background of the advancing digitalization? And when we look at this chart on the left side, we can see the same overall look like the relevance of the dimensions in the present. But what is shown here is that we can see that the entirety of dimensions of digital transformation gain strongly importance in the future. So all of the dimensions from 1.07 to 0.75 from supply chain and networks to corporate strategy all gain importance in the future. And we have some high performers like corporate strategy and leadership in corporate culture, which gain most, and supply chain and network, which do not gain that much relevance in the future. Okay, and with that, I would say that the last slide, I will give over to Florian, and thank you for your time.
So thank you very much, Felix, for this short summary. And guys, this was really just a glimpse here of the overall results. Due to time reasons, of course, we just showed you now some slides with really the main results, short, kind of like an executive summary. But of course, we can go much deeper here, and that's what we want to do with you together. And that's why I blend in here again this slide, just for you to remember here. You have really now the possibility to get a really detailed report here. In the middle of June, Katrin will introduce the whole process that is behind it in a minute. But therefore, until end of May, it would be great if you could fill out the questionnaire here, which is online available. As I said, it just takes 50 minutes, and we can then, on that basis, on this created databases for Brazil, where we already have some companies, we can even expand it and then conduct deeper country specific analysis here. Of course, we will send you a presentation, also flyer later with the hyperlink, so that you can access the questionnaire. And now I will hand over to Katrin.
So thank you very much, Florian, for this introduction. And as you mentioned, I will now want to show you how the process will continue. So we had today the introduction webinar for this digital transformation assessment, and would like to invite you to take part of the survey to assess the current state of the digital transformation of your company. And this will be open until 31st of May. Afterwards, we will conduct the analysis of the results and will present you the major results of the Brazilian, or from a Brazilian perspective, as Florian mentioned, at the 21st of June in another webinar, where we will send you an invitation besides this presentation that you will see today.
Thank you, Katrin. So, any questions from your side?
Thank you on my side too. And let me check if we already have questions in our chat. So we have one question that is quite easy to be answered. This is from Adriana, who is asking us if we will give access to the slides. And I think this is the case, right? We'll give access to the slides, and also our webinar today is being recorded. So afterwards, we can also give access to the webinar, right? For those who are not able to access today, or for those who need to see things back later, right?
Right, yes.
Exactly.
Okay, so now please feel free to ask your other questions. If you want to know a little more about the digital transformation assessment, about this journey that we're going to have together until the month of June to present you some reports, some good practices on digital transformation, please feel free to put your questions on the chat. And there is also a Q&A tool inside of Zoom. So while waiting for other questions to arrive, I'm going to make my first question here. So you guys have quite experience with Brazil too, because you've been involved with a lot of development of innovation initiative in Brazil. So I would like to hear from you now, what is the major challenge that you see for digital transformation in Brazil, according to the experience that you already had before with Brazil, and according to what you've seen in other countries? You mentioned that this has been performed already in 19 countries, right? So what are your perspectives right now on digital transformation for Brazil?
Of course, we are just having now just interim results from Brazil. That's why we want to build up our database with the help of you guys here. What we can say, though, that in Brazil, digitalization is still not an integral part of the corporate strategy here, and therewith there are in lots of cases also not defined roles and responsibilities to implement actually actions there. And also but also not only when it comes to digitization, also in other fields, there's a lack of concretely defined and measurable goals to make it even possible to monitor them and to monitor the actual state of digital transformation. This is one finding that we had so far. I hope that this answers your question to a certain extent. Of course, mid of June, we will update our results here. We do it, as I said already, on a quarterly basis. So now we already got the results from the first month, and now we wait again another quarter, and then we do the next analysis of the results, so to say. So the report will be always updated on a quarterly basis, and therewith we build up our database here. And as Felix already said, so far we have here 86 companies. Of course, in reality, it was way more, but we only have a look at companies which filled the questionnaire to an extent where we can say, okay, this is now significant for us. We can use this data. This is also a thing, of course, you should take really your time and go through each of the dimensions. And this will take you 15 minutes. That's it. Not more, but also not less. So, yes. Thank you.
So I listen in your answer that we have two answers. First, we have a lack of data in order to understand better what are the strengths and the weakness in Brazil for digital transformation. But at the same time, from the data that you have already collected. One major issue we need to be aware of is the capability of having good KPIs, good indicators in order to follow on the implementation of the activities of digital transformation, right? This is what we have already
exactly, and this
seen.
was a result coming from Brazil. Now I was talking about Brazil in this case.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
But of course, since our database in Brazil is not that big so far, of course, it's growing at the moment. We are waiting to have more, to conduct more precise analysis. And for that, we need a bigger database here.
All right. We have a question from Berna here. Berna from FFG, who is asking us, what will be the next step after the assessment is made to the company? If we will provide a consultancy, if we will provide any kind of support for the digital transformation of these companies.
Yes, upon request, which you can see here, I didn't talk about that. You, of course, also have the possibility to get in touch with us after you filled the questionnaire, got your and got your report. And there we can, of course, get more into detail regarding your company specific results and also your results in comparison to relevant peer groups. You could, for example, compare yourself, which makes a lot of sense, with peers of the same industry branch that you are active in. Or it could be a regional comparison. And then when we conducted this deeper analysis, we are actually able to derive jointly concrete solutions here to drive your digital transformation. We have, of course, lots of experience since more than 10 years. The Fraunhofer IPK is active in the field of Industry 4.0 and digital transformation solutions here. And we have a very broad portfolio of methods and tools to really drive your transformation here. And of course, this is possible. And it is always possible to get in touch with us and discuss, first of all, your results and your actual and current state of digital transformation, mainly your digital maturity.
Very good. So plenty of very nice information that Florian is sharing with us right now. First, what is really valuable and what is going to happen afterwards, after you guys make your digital transformation assessment, is that you will be able to compare your results, your good practices, your weakness with benchmarks everywhere in the world. And that's what is really, really interesting, to know exactly who is doing what where and where you can progress. And this is a little bit of what is going to be offered by this initiative of digital transformation. And also it's important for those who are following us now to know that Fraunhofer IPK is a very important, very strong partner of ENRICH in Latin America. And therefore, through ENRICH in Latin America, you of course have the channels to get access to Fraunhofer IPK to discuss further your results and discuss further what can be done with your results, right? What you can implement in order to improve your capability of management of digital transformation. It's not just about the tools. That's what we have already learned today. It's also about the management of your digital transformation journey, I would say. Is that correct?
Exactly.
Florian,
Thank you
Felix,
very much.
and Catherine.
Exactly,
Right.
Felipe. I couldn't have said it better. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. So we have another question here from Flavia, and she's asking us, what are the countries that are already involved? You mentioned that before, it's good to be said again. And what are, for what you know now, the best countries or the best examples or the best practices in terms of nation, in terms of countries for digital transformation?
Maybe I could give the word to Felix in this case, but I can tell you we have 19 countries already. Most of them are in Europe, like Spain, Germany, Hungary, Greece, Austria. Felix, help me with that.
So
France, I guess. Sweden. Yes.
Yeah. The most diverse distribution we got in Europe. So in Europe, we got a part from Hungary, we got a great part from Lithuania, Germany, Austria, and so we have there a great part in the European countries. America is represented by Brazil, of course. I think USA is also in there, and Africa is mostly South Africa participating in the results here. And for the other question, which countries are most successful? Maybe Florian, you got the answer there? Or?
Yes. As you would expect, actually, I would say the Central European countries are showing the best results at the moment. Yeah.
That's interesting. Central European countries, could you mention one of these?
Which is of course, Germany, where we also have quite a broad participation. And what's really interesting, we have a great participation coming from Lithuania. And there actually we have lots of answers, and we were quite surprised also about the level or the digital maturity of these companies. They were also quite high. And of course, these results are comparable. Now, somebody would say, okay, they just ticked always, yeah, I'm the best in every dimension. But that's not how it works, and that's not how the actual questionnaire is created or concepted. So yes, I can say Germany and Lithuania at the moment are the top, are at the top.
Very nice. So you mentioned Lithuania. This is very interesting because those of us who are quite following the digital transformation world nowadays know that Lithuania is very well known in the world for being one of the smartest government initiatives in the world, for having digitalized all their gov processes and therefore being more agile and also being more innovative in the relationship with the citizen. So maybe this explains the reason why also the companies have absorbed quite well the digital transformation initiative for their own businesses, right?
Indeed, yes.
So this leads me to this next question. Would we have also with the Fraunhofer initiative a vision on what's happening in terms of digitalization for public companies, for government, or is it only in 100% focus on industries?
It is, no, it is, of course, available for all kinds of value creating organizations. They can be also public. If that's the question, if I got your question right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's an important point, because
that's a really important point, because at the end of the assessment, you have the possibility to type in your company data. So from which industry section are you? How big is your company? Where are you located? Are you a B2B business or a B2C business? And there are lots of different criteria. And of course, we could also we can also divide between public companies there and industrial companies. This would be, for example, also an interesting comparison there. Yes.
Yeah. So this is an important question here, because at ENRICH, we also have some public organization participating, like cities, for example, like state government entities who are part of the institution, part of our associated members. And of course, they want to check what's happening also on the public institution perspective, what are the best practices and how they can also better serve society and the citizens, right, through digital transformation. So this is also kind of a vision that we can provide on the DTA. Is that correct?
Very, very good. Yeah, exactly. And we really encourage you to do so, especially also when you are part of a public organization there. Yes.
Very good. So for those of you who are from a public organization, do not feel that you are out of the initiative. On the contrary, you are 100% in, because this is also a very important opportunity for improving the value you create for people, for citizens. Okay, so we are getting close, unfortunately, to the end of our first webinar for the Digital Transformation Assessment Initiative. It is not just one webinar, it is really something we are going to go through like a journey. So as we have just 3 more minutes to finish, I would like to give the floor back to Florian, to Felix, to Catherine, and on my side, and in the name of all our ENRICH members, thanking you so much for your time, for bringing us this wonderful opportunity. And please, your conclusion words. Who wants to start?
So I would like to thank you also from my side to Felix and Florian, my colleagues, for this very interesting presentation. And I think it was a great opportunity to show our members how they can really assess the maturity of their digital transformation level in their organization, and also to show what we are delivering in the frame of ENRICH LUC project in terms of digital transformation to our members. And I would also, of course, like to thank our members that they watched this webinar today. And we're very excited to have you participate in the survey, and also to invite you to our next members exclusive series in terms of this digital transformation webinar series. So thanks a lot from my side.
Thank you. Florian, Felix, please, your conclusion words.
So yeah, thank you all from my side too. Thank you, Katrin. Thank you, Felipe. Thank you for listening, all the participants here today. And we would be pleased if you yeah, take part in this digital transformation assessment, and yeah, be a part of these analysis and the results in the end. And we would be honored to do so.
Thank you. Florian, your conclusion words.
So thank you very much, everybody, for taking your time. All I can say is now we are looking forward to your answers, and we are also looking forward to provide you afterwards a comprehensive report with country-specific results here in an international comparison. I think this will be a great opportunity for all of us to bring this subject of digital transformation forward. And happy to, I'm really happy that we could conduct here this call. Also, let your friends and colleagues know about this assessment. I think it's really a good thing. And we were working quite hard and for quite a long time on it. And let's make this digital transformation assessment a success. Thank you very much.
All right, it is exactly 11 a.m. in Brazil right now. It is exactly 4 p.m. in Germany, in Europe, Central Eastern Time. Thank you so much for your time. Have a wonderful weekend and see you very soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thanks.